Welcome, everyone. It's the Crypto Lark. Very excited to have on Brad from Unstoppable Domains. Brad, how's it going?
Going great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Now, we're going to be going through a whole bunch of stuff today, answering some of your questions. So I reached out to the community to really ask what you guys want to know about Unstoppable Domains. So I've got a lot of audience questions here, some of my own questions as well I cooked up. But before we do jump into that, just a quick disclaimer, guys, this is not a sponsored video. I am an affiliate for Unstoppable Domains. I love the product. I've got my Unstoppable domain. If you want to get yours too, there is a link down below where you can find some more information about that. That being said, let's go ahead and hop into the first question here. So the idea of really changing the way that crypto is sent is such an exciting idea. So Brad, can you give us kind of the high level of really what the vision of Unstoppable Domains is? And then we're going to start digging into the nuances afterwards.
Yeah, so the idea is that we build domains on blockchains, and that means that these domain names are not part of the traditional DNS system, not part of the regular internet. And the reason that we're building domains on blockchains is because they can do two things that regular domains can't do. And the first is that they can be your payment gateway for crypto. So you can simplify all of your crypto payments by just telling me your domain name. So you can have like, cryptolark.crypto, which I believe you actually do have, or we have for you. You can attach your Bitcoin address, your Litecoin address, your Ethereum address, all of your addresses to this one domain. I type it into a wallet and I pay you. So not only do I not need to know what your addresses are, I don't need to even see your public addresses. You have already attached the currencies that you accept to your domain. So all I need to do is type that in. And if you want to update your addresses or change it, you don't need to go and send me a new address. It's basically like all I need to know is this one thing, and then you can just keep updating it based on what wallet tools you're using.
Very, very cool. And of course, you can get a public and a private one too if you want. So if you wanted to have, two addresses, for example, one that you kind of give to, I don't know, people in business and one that you just give to your friends or something like that, you can, of course, set that up as well, which is pretty damn cool. Now, I think making basically addresses that are human readable is just such an important innovation in crypto, because we're talking about how do we make crypto super user friendly for people? How do we make it to the way where your grandma is going to easily be able to do it? And if you look at one of the big innovations or one of the big reasons why PayPal was so damn easy to use, you send it to an email address, send mine to an email address, right? So you type out lark@gmail.com and you send it, and then people get it. And that was a really big innovation. And so I think that similar kind of innovation in crypto is going to be massive, absolutely massive. So I mean, the .crypto address is obviously the new thing, so we're going to be talking mostly about that today. But I've got a few questions here, so we'll just start jumping into the audience questions. So let's go off with Dan Maniz. He had the question. So Unstoppable Domains is a great name, but how can you be stopped? What are the attack vectors against Unstoppable Domains?
Yeah, so the cool thing about blockchain domains is they are an asset on a blockchain. They are ERC 721 tokens, so they are similar to like a CryptoKitty or something like that. So you store the domain yourself with your private key. Once the domain has been given to you, no one can take it away. No one can move it around other than you. You need the private key. So this means that from a website perspective, if you were to use the domain to point your content to it, so long as you point content from a decentralized storage network, the attack vectors are pretty small. If you think about it, if you have your content distributed on a decentralized storage network, so there's no one server to shut off, and you have a domain that's controlled by you with your private key, really the only attack vector is they need to go get you. They need to find you physically. They need to get access to your phone or wherever your private key is stored, and they need to move the domain around. So this is very different than the way it works on the traditional internet, where if somebody doesn't like what you're doing with a website, they just call up GoDaddy and they say, take this guy down, and you're down in half an hour. Or they call up Amazon Web Services and they say, hey, we don't like this content, take this down, and it's down in half an hour or less. So that's the current internet. I think it's pretty hard to imagine how somebody would be able to stop a domain if there's an audience for it. That's what it comes down to.
That's pretty awesome. That's really awesome, without a doubt. Now, obviously, we've had the transference. So you guys started with the .zilliqa names. Now we have the .crypto domain names available. So can you tell everyone out there? So obviously people are very excited about the .crypto domain names, but a lot of people have got their .zil names already. So what happens to the .zil names? And if you bought a .zil name, are you going to get any sort of bonuses or anything for going out and getting your .crypto name now? Or do you have to go and buy another domain?
Yeah, so we did make a deal to where essentially you get credits to buy your equivalent .crypto domain, and you get right of first refusal. And the idea is that we wanted, so anybody who came in early and got their .zil domain and they got it because they wanted to use it as a, for their, future blockchain brand or whatever, that it's better to have coverage across both domain name systems. So that's the idea. So for all standard domains, that's how it works. The idea for us in general, though, as a business, is we have always been blockchain agnostic. We always intended to launch a domain registry on more than one blockchain. And the reason why is because we don't want users to have any sort of added risk of platform. So if we can get rid of platform risk, then I think there's a much better chance that this technology can get adopted in the short term. There's a lot of advantages to having a .zil domain. For example, the network has really high capacity. So that's the reason why we built our first system on Zilliqa. It has really high capacity, really low fees. So that's beneficial. On the Ethereum side, it has lower capacity, more likelihood that the blockchain could get backed up or whatever, and much higher fees. But it has integrations. Most of the ecosystem is already supporting it. So I think there's benefits to both. Because the Ethereum blockchain is more expensive, .crypto domains are also going to be more expensive.
Nice. And so for all the guys who went out and bought a .zil address, so now they're going to get credits so they can get, their .crypto name. Do they have a timeline that they have to do that within? Like, do they have to do it by X date, or, you lose the credits or you lose the right to refusal to that name?
The credits are forever. The right of first refusal is up until November 5th. So it's happening right now. So go on the site right now, claim your equivalent .crypto domain.
There you go, guys. If you've got your .zil name, don't screw around. Get out there and get your .crypto name. So you got the credits waiting for you on your Unstoppable Domains account if you have already bought a .zil address. So really important, guys. Now, the Having Show asks, are we going to see a third domain from the Unstoppable team? We have .zil, we have .crypto. What's next?
No immediate plans. I think two is definitely enough for now. We may do another one in the future, but it's probably in the distant future. And the main reason would be for some sort of new platform. So we're pretty confident that our first two domain extensions are in a great place to be successful. They already have a whole bunch of integrations. They're already getting pushed inside of wallets, going to get ready to get pushed inside of browsers and browser extensions pretty soon. So there's really no reason for us to go and do a third.
Nice. I guess on a similar thing, and I guess it's a pretty similar question, but if you've ever considered kind of launching a free domain, even it could be a branded one, like we saw with Hotmail back in the 90s offering sort of free domains, but you could do I don't know. Lark at a dot, unstoppable domains is awesome, right? Or something like that. Has that been in consideration, or is it just too technically difficult and financially difficult?
We're a little bit more worried about user confusion, so the idea of having, a couple of kind of standard domain extensions that people can get comfortable with, where the reputation will build over time, seems like the better path, because the risk if you have too many different things is that it's harder for users to tell, is this the real crypto Lark, or is this some pretend crypto? Crypto Lark dot unstoppable is awesome versus crypto Lark dot crypto. What if essentially the attack vectors go up for this kind of impersonation stuff, whereas if we have a more narrow space, we have less risk there because it's easy for you to tell, like, okay, well, I heard crypto Lark talking about this, so like crypto Lark dot crypto is definitely him.
Yeah.
Saw him tweeting about it on Twitter, so like the risk of user confusion is lower. On the flip side, you can do subdomains for free. And in general, we're very interested in getting domains in the hands of as many people as possible. So you will see opportunities at some points to get one free domain.
Nice.
See that, because the goal for us is, I mean, if this is successful, there should be 10 million people with domains in the next 1 to 2 years, and I think there's pretty easy ways to do that, and that's find ways to make onboarding easier for people. So that's definitely a goal, and you will see stuff along those lines coming from us.
Nice. I've got a couple of questions here from Rude Boy V over on Twitter. So a couple of his interesting ones here. So can I directly access a blockchain domain without a VPN if I'm in a country that regulates crypto payments?
Without a VPN, so that is a good question. I don't have a great answer to that question. I think that what will likely happen with the domain name systems in general is that they won't be on the radar of censor regimes initially, and they're going to need to proactively go and censor. And the way that you access the websites is going to be a little different. So for example, you'll use a Chrome extension. The Chrome extension will read an IPFS hash on the blockchain and show me your website. So I'll go into a browser. So let's say you have a browser extension installed, wallet browser extension installed that supports blockchain domains. You type in cryptolark.crypto. Countries they're going to have to proactively find ways to go and stop that behavior, maybe at the browser level by putting pressure on browsers or other things like that. So I think we don't know exactly what they're going to try first. But the nice thing is, if we have actual distributed websites, then at least the domain and the website itself won't be able to go down, which means that anything that happens is going to be temporary. It's not like in China where they can just take down the web. They find out who owns it. They just take down the website. It's done. You got to rebuild it. All that's going to happen is people are going to get blocked from certain places at certain times. And then it's just going to be about how good is the tech for VPN, for how good is the VPN tech, how good is the privacy tech to figure out how to get around it. So I guess the really candid thing to say here is that we do see that like ISP level blocking and things like that as being an unsolved problem, but the pressure on the difficulty for them to do it increases massively if we have this domain and we have this content piece solved. So now it's a cat and mouse game, and the mouse is in charge.
Nice. Very, very interesting. Now, have you guys? I've got another question from Rude Boy V here, but actually, just a quick question of my own. Have you guys had any conversations with big browser companies? We've seen, for example, obviously Brave browser's growing in popularity. It's not by far from being the biggest, but we've seen Opera, which has about 350 million users. They've got, Ethereum and Tron integrations. They've also just rolled out a Bitcoin wallet. So, are there any conversations going on in the background with these browsers to have this sort of native integration for the blockchain domains?
Yeah, nothing I can mention at this stage, but there are definitely conversations, and we're looking really closely at what Opera's doing. They've been basically the most pro crypto browser that's not a explicitly crypto company like Brave. So I think Opera is definitely the leader right now in this area, and the user base is huge, like you say, particularly in Southeast Asia. So it would be a great market for blockchain domains.
Very, very cool. Okay, so the other one from Rude Boy V here is, are blockchain domains faster to load than traditional .com domains, or are they slower?
So that's a good question. And so the things that limit speed of the website are going to be around your content storage. So content is going to be stored on IPFS and other decentralized storage networks. Right now, the way that it works is the more people that pin the content and the more people that are close to you that pin the content, the faster your website is. So basically, if the website is super popular in your neighborhood in New Zealand, and there's a ton of different people that you can get access to that are close to you, it's fast. If you're the only person in New Zealand that likes this website and you have to go to, to
the UK or something where it's popular.
Exactly, then it's going to be slower. And the honest answer is, in general, from the start, these websites will be slower, and they will also be lower performance. The way that we think about this is we're basically rewinding the internet back to like mid-90s. So for those of you who were hacking on websites back in the 90s, it's basically like GeoCities again. So we're at that level where it's going to be very simple websites, but the difference is no one can take these down other than you. So we're basically rebuilding the internet in this way where every user, every website is essentially self-sovereign. V1 of our website stuff will be mostly around blogs and static websites and some basic images. It's going to start with really simple stuff, and the reason why is because those will be pretty fast, and because that's a lot of the value. So if you can launch a news website with Bitcoin and Ethereum payments baked in, sending to the same domain, you already have a revolution all around the world, potential revolution all around the world. So if we can deliver on just that with blockchain domains, there's already going to be a massive change. That's short term. We're talking like in the next year, we should start seeing this stuff. Long term, this idea of decentralized storage will be more efficient than going and having Amazon go build giant server farms everywhere. That is not the most efficient way. You probably have extra storage space on your computer. I do too. There's this massive supply. It's basically like, Airbnb doesn't own any hotels, but they open up the supply of potential rooms all over the world. The same is going to happen with decentralized storage because it's really just a marketplace. Anybody can store. So ultimately, it'll be faster, cheaper, better. And that's why the whole world is going to switch to this, because a centralized server farm will not be able to compete.
Yeah, new technology is it's amazing how these old business models, I mean, they're not old. I mean, they're internet business models. They're not really old, but they're old enough, right? They're the legacy systems. They're going to be run over like I don't know, something getting run over by a truck. It's going to be pretty brutal for them because they just won't be able to compete economically. They've got their economic models in places, and when new economic models come out, it's going to be, I think, quite the challenge for these guys when it comes to it.
And it's also better. It's better for the world. Like who thinks it's a good idea for Amazon to have a copy of every single thing on the internet? Who thinks that is the way that the internet should work? And who back in 1996 would have said this is the way the internet is going to work? This is not what we thought was going to happen. We thought we were building, a peer-to-peer global community. It just didn't work out that way.
Yeah, big corporations came in and said, "Hey, we can provide services. That's cool. We'll just be the middleman." And then a couple years later, like, by the way, we're taking everything. We're taking all your data. We're in control of everything. We shut anyone down at any time. And I just want to bring this back a quick little point here. You're talking about like blogs and stuff. That's such a great, just information, right? We've seen so many times all over the world journalists and politically sensitive bloggers with unpopular opinions or who are exposing corruption and things like this. Those people get shut down. They get shut off the internet. They get cut out of social media. Their websites get shut down. This prevents that from happening, and that's very important.
I think this is going to be the thing that shows the world the power of this tech. It's going to be Hong Kong protesters or journalists covering the protests. It's going to be stuff in Catalan in Spain. It's going to be these cases where the powers that be are using the technology that exists in order to shut down these conversations. And the rest of the world wants to hear them. It's not just that they want to be heard. It's that the whole world wants to hear them. So the numbers are on our side. The numbers are on the side of freedom. So I think the moment we can introduce tech that can work for the mainstream, people are going to want it this way.
Yeah, when people realize there's a better alternative, you're gosh darn right they will. And especially, look, obviously I think for the crypto community, the easy payment vector is just such a great early use case because that's what's going to get a lot of crypto people on board. And then of course, as we start seeing actual journalists and bloggers and stuff come on, that's going to really kickstart it. And then people will be helping you build, right? People will be helping that process move along and say, but I want to build, this website there, and here's how we can do it. And so that's the community builds. That's you can count on that to happen for sure. Now I'll move on to the next question here. So this is about kind of a two-part payment question, I guess. One is the fee for a domain a one-time payment, or is there going to be like a yearly or every 2-year kind of renewal fee? And to follow up on that, Stephen Usteki asks, can you buy a domain anonymously? Can you pay with Monero?
Good question. So the domain is a one-time fee. Not only is the domain a one-time fee, but we actually cover blockchain transaction fees for you as well, so that you don't have to, when you add addresses or whatever, you don't have to go and make a blockchain transaction. You don't have to make sure you've got like ETH in your wallet or whatever. So from a user experience perspective, make that super simple. In terms of buying anonymously, so for our website, it requires an email address. Obviously, you can create an email address from wherever, and you can pay in crypto. We don't accept Monero yet, but we plan to accept all currencies. And right now, we're limited by the way that like our payment processor works. We're using Coinbase API, but we will definitely be adding more currencies in the near future, and privacy coins would be a priority for sure. And for the main use itself, you already can attach privacy coins, like Dash, for example. So you could go and use your domain in Coinomi right now, in Coinomi wallet, attach your Dash address, and then I could send a private payment to your public name.
There you go. There you go. It's pretty cool, isn't it, guys? Private payments to public names. Now, the crypto Marxist, he asks, can we have unstoppable email addresses for our unstoppable domains?
So I know I keep talking about the future here, but it is definitely possible. And the way that you should expect to see this is not an integration with the traditional email providers, because those are centralized and not encrypted.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you should expect to see associated with your blockchain domain is an encrypted chat. So when you have encrypted chat, I can basically be messaging you. So I have, brad.crypto, and I'm messaging cryptolark.crypto, and we're having a conversation, and I know it's you because you've already made that association has been made public, but no one knows we're having the conversation. And then we can do a deal, and then we can make payments to each other, and no one knows about that either.
Cool.
That seems like a supercharge for all kinds of international commerce that just aren't happening right now.
Very, very cool stuff. Now, one thing that obviously has got a lot of people excited about unstoppable domains is speculation around exciting names, right? So the idea of domain squatting, obviously that's been big business in the traditional internet area. A lot of people are expecting it to be super big business in the blockchain domain name area. So can you walk us through this process a little bit? I mean, is there going to be like an exchange that you guys are going to host where people can, put up domains for sale, or is it going to have to kind of happen somewhere else? Is someone going to have to build that on top of it? So,
yeah, so we're not building the exchange personally. The way that we think about it is that what's really going to, so first of all, our goal is for domains to be used. We think that's what's actually going to make the ecosystem, in particular domains, long-term valuable. And in particular, if you look back to the way that it worked for traditional domains, it was much more about what you did with your website. You had a name, and then you build stuff, and that's what created the value. So I expect that's probably more where we're going to see real value created, is people building out something on exchange.crypto or whatever, and that those are going to become destination properties that people will search for in order to find services, and so on. So I think that's, it's much more about what you put into it, I think, although there will be some rhyming with the traditional domain world, where you would expect that really common words are going to be the types of things that people would just type into a browser. So like early on, hotels.com was valuable because you just got on the internet for the first time, search wasn't that good yet. You're like, well, I want a hotel. Let me see what happens if I type in hotels.com, basically.
mm-hmm.
So I think you could see some of that happening in the blockchain domain world. In terms of the actual exchanges for selling domains, no, we're not building it, but they're ERC 721 tokens. So it's pretty easy for a lot of existing platforms to support them, and I expect that they will.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see that coming. That'll be an interesting marketplace to see for sure. Very, very cool. Brad, this has super interesting stuff. Again, if anybody wants to, get their domain name locked down, you don't have to go out and get Coca-Cola.crypto or something like that. You don't have to be a domain squatter. You can just get your name. I got my name, and you just get your name.crypto, and you got it locked in. There's no renewal fees and stuff, so you can just go and get it, and then you have it. And then you can, of course, link your payment addresses and all the fun stuff too. And if you want to build a website at some point, well, you got that covered too. So, Brad, thank you so much for coming on and telling us about what you guys are doing over at Unstoppable Domains.
Thanks a ton for having me. It was fun.
Thank you.